So first things first, I'm honestly throughout this video, I'm just going to talk about the things that I noticed as somebody who's mainly used a cloth pad. Currently, I'm using a Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn Pro, if that helps, just to give you an idea of, I guess, where I come from, so to speak, and how it really felt to switch to this for a few months. And yeah, I'll just go through, I guess, my first impressions of it, the first things I noticed when I was playing in and out of the game and stuff, what I liked, what I didn't like, etc. And the first thing, of course, it's a glass pad, is the speed. Honestly, I've had a SteelSeries QCK, which at the time I considered fast compared to my Saturn Pro. And now I have this thing, which, well, oh, sorry, cat. Well, as you can see here, I mean, it's, you know, it's a lot faster than what I'm used to. And to be quite honest with you, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. This was something I thought that, you know, was on sale. I assumed I'd grab it, try it for a week, return it, or resell it eventually if I couldn't return it. But I played a few games. It was really rough at first, obviously, because making micro adjustments was hard. Lowered my settings a little bit, got used to it, and you know what? I actually started to like the speed of it. Obviously, in a game like Valorant, what's most important for the most part is your first bullet accuracy. Sometimes being able to make those flicks a lot easier was just a lot more, well, it was a lot better with this pad. Obviously it's faster, so making those, I guess, macro flicks and those big adjustments was a lot easier to do than on my Saturn Pro, which is something that I really enjoyed. And honestly, it's not my favorite part of this pad, but it was the first thing I noticed. The downside, of course, being that I couldn't make micro adjustments that easily. Especially, I was using this with a Lambsooth Thorn, which I kind of grip all the way the back of my palm here, so I can't really use my fingers to make those micro adjustments, and I'm on a glass pad, so it was even harder to do those, which is why I lowered my settings in the first place. Honestly, it did give me a few issues. Obviously, everybody likes to see those big flicks and those snappy plays, which feel satisfying in game, but those easy shots, which are for the most part the majority of the shots you do have to take in a game like Valorant, it was pretty hard to make them connect sometimes. It just, you know, targets are very small in Valorant. You need to land the headshot first, otherwise obviously you die. And sometimes I was struggling a lot with this pad to make those adjustments, right? Like, it was just really hard for me to do that. Obviously part of it is my grip style, but I know for this kind of mouse pad, you know, really isn't made for that. This is mainly a pad that I'd recommend for games like Apex, right? Like track heavy games and stuff like that are a lot more faster paced, which will go into the next thing I noticed, which you may have noticed as I was gripping my mouse there, which is the moisture. Now, I don't really get sweaty hands that much when I game. Man, this thing sticks. I use my arm for the most part to aim. I use my wrist and my arm. I don't really use my fingers very much. And the first thing I noticed when I was using this, I had to make a really big flick. I did like a little 180 in a round. And I tried to move my arm, and I noticed that my palm kind of got stuck into the pad. Like, it's already getting stuck right now, and I've barely had my hand on it for that long. And it was probably the thing I hate the most about this pad, and it's something that obviously I've seen for a lot of other glass pads, that they're very sticky. I know a lot of people have recommended using arm sleeves, and I have like a decent, I mean, it's okay, to be honest. It's not that good. It's not that great quality. Arm sleeves are just not my thing. I don't find them comfortable. I have a cat who basically sleeps on my desk, attracts a lot of, you know, cat hair and such. It's not really my type of thing, and that made, you know, that lower sends arm wrist only aiming a little harder for me. Eventually I got used to it, but it still felt awkward. When I'm just moving my wrist left and right like so, it isn't so bad. But when I have to move my arm, that's when it's really annoying, because not only does my palm here get stuck to the pad, but my forearm does too. And honestly, it really got in the way, and it annoyed me a lot. It's the main reason why I never fully stuck to this pad. If I didn't have this issue, I'd probably use this a lot more than I currently do. To be honest, I'm only using this on and off. I'm mainly sticking to my Saturn Pro, but I do pull this out quite often to test it out and use it, because I do like the feel of it. Yeah, that moisture buildup and the stickiness just isn't really nice to have, to be honest. I don't have a low enough sends where I can just play like this the entire game, or a high enough sends rather. So it doesn't really work for me. This kind of leads on, I kind of mentioned it a little bit. The feel of the pad, I actually really like it. I like how cold it is, which might feel weird to say, to be honest. But I like the cool feel of it. It feels really nice, especially like my room gets really hot, especially right now in the summer. That cool feeling of just putting my arm on it initially is really nice to have. I love the surface of it. I like how easy it is to clean. Again, this vile creature right here, who basically lives on my desk. Basically makes my Saturn Pro, well, unusable after about 3 days of playing, so I have to wash it all the time. But this is easy. I mean, I just wipe it pretty much, and everything just comes right off. I really enjoy that aspect of it, especially for, again, having a cat. It's really nice to have. So if anybody's thinking about, well, getting a glass pad because you have a cat and you don't like cleaning your cloth pad every 3 days, well, this could be an option for you. Obviously, considering everything else, I don't think that's a good enough reason to get a glass pad if that's the only thing you're worried about. But the next thing I'll talk about is the base of it. So this doesn't really move too much unless I put like direct pressure on it to move it, like so, like really on the ends, but I have to like press into it to really get it to move. It's pretty stable in game. It never moved. It never slid on my desk, nothing like that. It felt pretty solid, which is nice. To be honest, I think most decent mouse pads nowadays, whether they're glass or cloth, kind of do that. So it's nice, but honestly, I think it's more of a, I guess, a given, so to speak, for most mouse pads nowadays, for them to be pretty solid and for them not to move around too much when you're using them. Those are the main things I felt when I was using this pad. Wasn't very consistent. I'd either pop off, get 30 plus kill games, I'd feel incredible, or I wouldn't hit anything and I'd drop 4 kills in a 24 round game. 24 round games aren't even a thing, that's only in scrims, but anyway. It's hard for me to recommend this for people who play TAC FPS games like myself. Again, I do really enjoy the feel of it, but that general inconsistency of those micro adjustments for a game like Valorant and CS, and for people who don't like arm sleeves like myself, you know, the palm and the forearm getting stuck to the pad is really annoying, especially if you're using a lower sens. Really not that fun. Even if you get used to it, I mean, it's annoying. I can't make a flick because my palm is stuck and I'm putting force, like my desk is shaking. My camera's literally shaking from me doing this and I can't, like I have to like force, and you can probably hear my palm really sliding against it. My mouse isn't even touching the pad anymore. That's just my palm sliding against the pad, which is really annoying, to be honest. It's the main reason I wouldn't recommend this for most people. The other thing I want to mention is the sound. I thought this would sound a lot louder. Now I do understand that, like, I guess higher tier glass pads are quieter than this, I think, from what I've seen. But this is actually pretty quiet. It's not that loud, unless you get like some hair stuck on your mouse feet, then it's probably the most irritable sound you've ever heard in your entire life. But it's generally a lot quieter than I thought it would be. And for that, I guess, you know, kudos, it's great. But it's something that most other glass pads kind of fall into anyway. The last thing I'm going to go over is the coating. I don't know anything about other glass pads very much. Again, this is my first and probably last one I'll ever get. But this one has a coating, which from what I understand, the coating is supposed to make it quieter and it's supposed to make it more durable. I think this is what ASUS themselves have said about this coating. But from what I've read online, from what I've seen in other videos, and well, from what I've heard, generally a coating is not preferable on glass pads because it wears down. And after it wears down, the glass pad kind of just decreases in quality quite a bit, which is unfortunate. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure how much usage you have to put for that to happen. So I can't really make any comments on that. I haven't used mine enough to really feel a difference on whether a coating has, I guess, been worn down or not. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, for the price I got it for, I don't think this was a horrible deal. $50 off, I'm not going to complain. But I guess for a final conclusion, I'd only be recommending this to people who, 1, play much faster shooters like Apex, for example, 2, like using arm sleeves because I think this is almost unusable without one, and 3, I guess this is more of like a secondary, I guess, thing that could qualify this as a good pad for you, would be if you have a cat and you don't want to bother deep cleaning your cloth pad every 2 to 3 days. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be it for today. I know this isn't really like a scientific review. This is mainly just my own thoughts, opinions as somebody who plays Valorant all the time, and has wondered myself pretty often, would a glass pad be a good fit for me if I play Valorant? Would I enjoy it? And yeah, those were my thoughts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please let me know if you have any advice, any ways to make these better. I'm pretty new at this. I know that I'm not very good at it, to be honest with you. I want to get better. This is why I'm doing this. And yeah, I'm just here to kind of share my journey, I guess, for different peripherals I'm getting. So yeah, anyway, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if, well, you enjoyed a lot, or if you liked my cat here, who is currently eating my hand. Ow, stop. Oh, there you go. And yeah, leave a comment if you have any advice, anything you want me to review I can probably get my hands on, and yeah, have a good one.